NOWPayments is a way to accept Monero payments on websites and phones that is accessible to everyone. From programmers who want to code against an API for advanced control to those who have no coding abilities whatsoever, NOWPayments has an option for you. While you can accept several different cryptocurrencies with NOWPayments, this review will focus on using it to accept Monero. First of all, signing up to NOWPayments does not require any KYC information, which keeps you safe. Signing up for NOWPayments is free and there are no monthly maintenance costs. This makes it a perfect way to get started accepting Monero payments without any overhead. All you need is an email address and a Monero address and you're good to go. Next, the fee that is charged by NOWPayments is only 0.5%, which is extremely low and works for almost every business type. Additionally, there is someone you can communicate with on NOWPayments to handle any support requests you have. The minimum amount of money for a transaction is $10, so if for some reason you need to sell things for less than this, you won't be able to do so. NOWPayments does allow bank transfers for some currencies, but this is outside of the scope of what is being reviewed here. The NOWPayments dashboard can be used to help you manage and track your invoices and payments. You can use it to generate invoices and send them to customers. You can also use it on a mobile phone to generate an invoice with a custom ID to receive payments with just a mobile phone. Some people may be a bit confused about using a cryptocurrency processor to accept payments when the idea behind cryptocurrency is mostly about self-custody. So let's discuss the basic workflow. NOWPayments generates an invoice. That invoice can be associated with your system by an ID you pass to it. This way, you can link your internal e-commerce system to their system. NOWPayments generates an address used to pay a Monero amount, and they determine the best rate to pay for that amount. You must tell NOWPayments the fiat amount you want the customer to pay. For example, you tell NOWPayments you want the customer to pay $20. You cannot specify an amount purely in Monero, but it will be the best rate they can offer. You can pass to NOWPayments a description as well, so the customer knows what they're paying for. A customer does not need to provide any personal information to pay a NOWPayments invoice. There is a window of time that the customer must pay in. Otherwise, the rate that's quoted will not work and it will cause issues. The customer can pay the amount in Monero using the QR code or the raw address and amount. Once the amount is paid, it can be forwarded directly to your personal wallet. In the NOWPayments dashboard, you set what your wallet address is. You can change this at any time. Therefore, while NOWPayments receives the Monero, they send it to your private wallet once they detect the payment has enough confirmations. This is important because it means that the funds do go into your personal wallet before the invoice is considered paid. There are other options here, but this is the recommended way to receive payments. An invoice is generated, the customer pays, and the funds are sent to you minus the processing fee that NOWPayments charges for setting everything up for you. After the customer pays the invoice, they can be redirected to your custom page so the customer knows that their order was paid for. To accept payments, you can write a custom API integration, or you can use one of their plugins for an existing e-commerce shop. These plugins include PrestaShop, WooCommerce, Magento 2, WHMCS, OpenCart, ECWid, ZenCart, Shopify, Shopware. If you are using a plugin, you really don't have to know much other than installing their plugin and following their guidelines for doing so. It's important to know that there are many edge cases when paying with cryptocurrency that are not present with credit cards. You should understand these because accepting cryptocurrency payments is an entirely different world than credit cards. First of all, a customer simply may not be using a wallet that correctly prices in the fees to pay the exact amount that is asked for. There are a few situations in which this can happen. One would be if they do not pay the network fee to send the transaction. To help with this, NOWPayments has a setting that will allow some buffer for people who aren't factoring in the network fee. You should consider this setting because it can cause failed invoices. Some people simply do not understand network fees. They will pay only the amount requested from their wallet without thinking about network fees. This is an annoying fact you need to consider. Another situation is if someone pays in a fiat amount that is is not what they are requested to pay in Monero. This would lead to an over or underpayment on an invoice. In this situation, you will have to deal with the customer directly to deal with their over or underpayment. A second issue would be if a customer does not pay the invoice in the allotted time. Perhaps a user is waiting for their Monero wallet to sync before sending, and they do so over a slow connection or with an old wallet they need to sync. In that case, they will not be able to pay the invoice in time, and the quoted rate will be wrong. An invoice will expire, but it's still possible a customer could pay an expired invoice because Monero addresses last forever. In this case, again, you will have to deal with the customer directly to ask for more Monero or refund them. You need to understand that unlike a credit card transaction, where an e-commerce system generally only creates an order after a successful payment is made, that with cryptocurrency, it's completely different. An invoice needs to be created that is unpaid. That invoice can enter the following states: waiting for the customer to send the payment, an initial status of each payment. Confirming the transaction is being processed on the blockchain. Appears when NOWPayments detects the funds from the user on the blockchain. Confirmed. The process is confirmed by the blockchain. Customers' funds have been accumulated with enough confirmations. Sending. The funds are being sent to your personal wallet. We are in the process of sending the funds to you. Partially paid. It shows that the customer sent less than the actual price. Finished. The funds have reached your personal wallet and the payment is finished. Failed. The payment wasn't completed due to an error of some kind. Refunded. The funds were refunded back to the user. Expired. The user didn't send the funds to the specified address in the time window. Keep in mind the time window for the invoice expiration will be on the invoice, so it could be a relatively short period of time. The good news is that most people who use Monero are smart enough to know how to use it, so some of these edge cases outlined are rare. Monerica has created a custom API integration with NOWPayments, which passes over its own internal reference invoice ID. There is an endpoint that NOWPayments sends a request to. That is used to receive back confirmations that the invoice was paid. As an example, here are the config settings that are needed for Monerica's implementation: API key, IPN secret key, success URL, URL of where the customer is redirected after payment, canceled URL, the URL of where they go if they don't want to pay, IPN callback URL, the URL of where an HTTP post request is sent with status information, partially paid URL, the URL of where they go if the payment is a partial amount, pay currency, the currency that is paid in, for example, XMR, price currency, the currency that is priced in, for example, US dollars. This custom library is in the Monerica GitHub repository, but will likely not help you unless you are using the C# programming language. For most e-commerce companies, you will want to rely on the plugins provided by NOWPayments. Keep in mind, nothing stated here is financial, tax, or legal advice. Consult a professional for your specific situation. By using NOWPayments, you can accept Monero payments and have those payments sent directly to your private wallet. NOWPayments can help you create your own Monero accepting business so that you can live off Monero, working completely in the Monero circular economy. To sign up for NOWPayments, make sure to click the link in the video description below. It's an affiliate link that can help Monerica stay in business. You can also find the link to NOWPayments on Monerica.com in the Merchant Services section. Thank you for watching this video on how to accept Monero payments using NOWPayments. Like, subscribe, and share this video to help grow Monero. For more ways to live your life using Monero, visit Monerica.com.